Hey everyone. Hey everyone. Happy Saturday morning. I hope you're doing great because we have such a kind of productive morning today. And today was us, Rudradep Mitra. Hey Rudradep, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
So he's an AI researcher and entrepreneur who is interested in using AI actually for social goods. And Rudradep is the founder of Omdana, which is a collaborative platform for AI development that is in 17 months since starting, engaged over 1,500 collaborators from over 84 countries to work on 31 social challenges. Am I right? Can you correct me, or everything is like good?
I
Or
think
can you
that's
tell
like
me a
two
bit
years
more?
old statistics, by the way, but it's fine. It's 2 years ago. I don't know
It's
from
two
where I
years
got it, but
ago.
that's 2 years ago. Yeah.
Oh,
But it's okay.
okay.
It doesn't
So right
matter.
now, but right now numbers
So
are
right now,
growing,
yeah,
and
we
that's
have run over
nice.
300 projects involving around 10,000 people from 105 countries.
So it's nice. That's crazy good to see a dynamic and big growth. So today you're going to talk about product market fit and creating actually AI products. So the stage is yours, and super welcome.
Yeah,
Happy to
thanks
have
a
you
lot,
here. Yeah.
Lisa and Nasty and Alicia, everyone for inviting me. And welcome, guys. So I'll make it quick. I'll make a 15 minutes talk. I will tell. Can you move to the next slide? Because I couldn't see this. I have a slide presentation, so if someone can move to the next slide. Yeah, cool, thanks. So I thought of briefly telling about my background so that you guys get an idea about who am I and where am I coming from. So I actually divide my professional life in 4 parts. So I was actually first of all an AI researcher, published research papers, moved on to become an entrepreneur, built 6 companies. Then there was a part of my life when I was more educationalist. I was traveling around the world giving talks. I spoke in over 30 countries. And then since a couple of years ago, I called myself spiritual being and I started building Amdena because I believe that what we are building in Amdena is also very spiritual, but also is AI for good, social good, and other things. And today's talk, I'll kind of talk about collecting all the experiences that I had building different startups and working in AI field over say 10 around years, and also around building Amdena and what I have seen. And as you can see, we have run over 300 projects in the last 3 years since we started, working with organizations in 65 countries, I think. And we have around 85 chapters around the world in 33 or 32 countries. Can we move to the next slide? So I think the key to we all when so I come from a also very technical background. So I used to write code, build softwares. What we all need to understand first of all is that the 80%, 87% of AI data science projects never make into production. That's a very, very high number of failure rate. I mean, any industry will have that kind of failure rate will be like, gone. But it's still like AI is still because of the hype, the potential, there's a lot of kind of people invested into this. Now, why is that such a big problem? And I always argue that the biggest problem of AI is the AI adoption, not the technology development. It's easy to build the technology, but it's actually the product and then actually launching the product and making people use the product. And that's where I have a few things to say, which I'll share some of my experience. Can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So I will talk about the key focus of today, this next 10, 12 minutes would be how do you make products that makes people adopt and use your solutions? And there will be 4 points that I will basically touch upon. The next slide, please. And I will try to take one use case. This is actually a startup that I was a founding member of. It started 2013, and the goal of this was actually tracking how people are driving and making them better drivers to reduce the accidents. Now, this startup was kind of 2013, 14, so like 8 years ago. So, but I will bring up some topics that would be relevant. Now, I is the first point. The first and most important thing is that when you are building your solution, you build and launch your product progressively based to different user groups. Now, one of the mistakes that a lot of developers do is they try to focus on building a perfect product right in the beginning and then launch to the masses. That may not be the right strategy. In our case, what happened that what we typically, I don't know how many of you know this curve. This is called adoption curve. So it's basically there are different user groups. There are innovators, there are early adopters, there are early majority and late majority. Typically, most of the people lie in the early majority and late majority. But when you are launching a product and you're first starting it, you don't launch your product necessarily always on the early majority. You start with the innovator market, then you move to the early adopters, and then you move to the early majority. And it's very important to understand each of those groups and understand who those groups of people are, what are their motivations are, and why would they start using your solutions. And it's important that you go progressively one after another. So can you go to the next slide? So the first stage of whenever you are creating your first product is to go from 0 to 1, right? So you're focused on the innovators. Now, who are these innovators? The next slide. So the innovators are often, they are the people that connect to a mission or a vision of what you are doing. So in our case, when we were building this app for the road safety, our innovators were people who are passionate about making roads safer, for example. So they're many times they're activists, and they're often what I've seen that they're one timer. They will come, they will use, and they will move on. They might share, but they are not looking for. They're not like kind of a typical users that keep on using your product normally. They are innovators, and normally they love to try new things. So they would be happy to try your new things also. Next slide, please. Now, next slide. So as I said, in our case, we connected to that group by saying we are, say, people who are activists of road safety. And when we launched our solution through targeting that group, we got, for example, this is the media. We got, when we launched, we were covered in the media and newspaper and the TV. We didn't spend any money, but it was purely because we connected to a group of people. They found that what we are doing has a mission and a vision, and they thought, okay, we would like to cover that. And then also a lot of people then started using it. So next slide. Yeah, so the key to understand when you are launching to the innovators is you don't have to worry about a preferred product. You do not necessarily, although I have to solve a pain point in the first version, what you call an MVP, basically what we say, that what you are trying to do is you're trying to understand their intrinsic motivation. So for example, in our case, make roads safer, right? So these are people who are passionate about making the roads safer. So your first version of the app was kind of giving them an idea that, okay, how this will work, how they can use it, so that it kind of helps them to understand, okay, this is the potential future of this solution is. It doesn't have to be final product, but they say, oh, I love what you're doing, I'll be happy to write it. They're often also bloggers. They're also people that write about it. They're many times are influencers. So this is the way they would try out something. They will love the idea. They will love the things. They are not going to use your solution long term or regularly, but that's the first group to go into once you do that thing. Can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So once you reach to the innovators, they help you to propel their product from that initial innovator stage to the early adopter people, because a lot of people early adopters are following the innovators normally, right? And then so next slide. So these are the people who early adopters are often looking for something extrinsic motivation. They want something in return. So not only that, okay, there's a big vision and mission is great, but they also need something in return. So next slide. Now, in our case, what we did, so for example, if I connect back to the solution that we had built, which was tracking how roads drive, how you can be a good driver, we connected it to a trip feedback. So they could actually see, for example, that they are getting some scores. And the next slide. And then what we did is every score when they were connected, they could get some free stuff. It doesn't have to be big stuff, but if they score drive well, they could get some free coffee and something like that. Now, again, just for you to understand that this was an extrinsic motivation of getting a free coffee. That's not an intrinsic motivation of doing good to the world, but extrinsic motivation, okay, I get something in return also for my actions. So I'm using this app, I get rewarded, for example, like that. And that's the group of people that's how you connect to the early adopter market. To the next slide. And then, so basically, when you progressively launch your solution, the first solution, you create the first version, go to the innovators, they talk about it. Then you build the next version where you understand that you're slowly reaching to the early adopters. Then they will kind of, you connect to the extrinsic motivation, add a new feature, for example. In our case, that's how we did. Okay, they will get a free, they get some benefits. And they will be actually the people who kind of repeat, they will stay longer and they will repeat it. Next slide. And then from there, you move to the early majority, which is basically most of the people most of us lie in the majority market, right? So the next slide. And in this case, what you have to do is the early adopters also happy to try out things, but they don't necessarily, you have to solve a real pain point for them. In the majority market, when you go, you really have to solve a pain point that you really say, okay, this is a problem that I have, and what you are doing is helping me solve the problem. So, and they're normally slow. And what in our case, for example, when yeah, you can move on to the next slide, it's fine. What in our case was that we said, okay, it will help you to reduce your insurance premiums. Because, for example, our key early majority was young people in their 20s and 30s who normally pay high premiums. So they would be saying, okay, like, I'm not interested in a free coffee here and there, but I am interested in reducing my insurance premium. So that's the group of people. Then we build a feature. Now, right from the beginning, think about it. If I build all of those features right in the first day, it would be too much to build. And as a startup, we all know the products you build feature over feature. So that's how you progressively, slowly build the features over and over again and target those right audience so that you keep on progressing further on to the next stage of the development and the next stage of the user group. So I hope that gives you a good idea about the first way, that how do you slowly build your solution, launch, and then move on to the next stage. The next point is that this is very, very important when you build AI solutions, is that you have to really make the value transparent and educate your users. Because normally people do not trust it. Now, when I use the word educate, I do not mean the terms and conditions in their app that people will just ignore and just accept. In our case, what we did, we realized that we are asking people to provide their driving data, which could be confidential and private data. And what we did was, no, the previous slide, sorry. What we did was that we actually send physical letters to people, to their addresses. Say, okay, we got their addresses saying, okay, this is what we are doing. This is how we are going to build the data and things like that. So that people really appreciate it. That's our way of doing it. There are many ways to do that. I remember there was a bank I was working with, and they said that they want to build an AI app which a 10-year-old kid can understand how the data is being used. And this actually helps a lot to build the trust among people that they can start using it. Okay. The third is also a very, very important point, which again, a lot of engineers make mistake, which I've seen over and over in big companies also, that we think of trying to too much automate the entire process. And by doing that, what we do is that we completely remove the human element of having control in nature. It's very important to keep the control still at humans. If you want people to use your solution, they should feel that they have the control in their hand. I'll give you this example. I gave these two pictures. This is one side is the previous one, sorry. This is one side is an app that we built. So where you can see there's a start button, the green button. So people actually still had a control to click on the start button that when they want to track their driver. On the other hand side, during the same time, there were many companies were coming up with something called OBD devices, which was basically a hardware device in the car. Although there was good benefits of that, the problem of that hardware device in the car was that you cannot stop it suddenly like that. It's kind of inbuilt in the car. And a lot of people didn't feel comfortable that kind of a car is inbuilt in the car. So the adoption was very low, actually. While where in a kind of solution where you feel the control, the adoption is normally higher. So whenever you're building such a solution, think about that. How can you keep the control at certain major points to the user so that they always feel in control? And now the final point is, I absolutely think that when I go around, I've spoken in many events, around the world, the most common question that I receive is ethical AI. They say that, how do you make sure that AI is ethical? And I'm not talking about, bureaucrats or politicians. I'm actually talking about common people. They are very concerned that, AI is ethical. And I've written this article, you guys can go, and I talk about this Milgram experiment, that why it is so essential that we build AI solutions that are ethical in nature. Because otherwise, if we let completely control to a machine, which in turn is controlled by some human, we can be completely, become like robots. We have almost no control in our life, which we could see in certain ways. So it's very, very important when we are building solutions, we think about how to build, let's say, ethical AI. And as an engineer, so now we often, and at least my point was ethical AI is these are some buzzwords, some research work. But what I have found out, and my argument here is that to build ethical AI, we have to focus on 3 C's: it's collaboration, compassion, consciousness. I will not go in details of those, each of the other two trees, compassion, construction, but I do talk about the collaboration of that, why collaboration is very important when we build AI solutions. Next slide. So what, first of all, what makes an AI solution unethical to my mind is unable to find the biases in the data. So it's very important that when you are in a team, you are building the solution, you have this diversity of opinions as much as possible. And I don't mean diversity as gender and race. I actually mean diversity of thoughts and ideas. And often I talk about this that a room with, for example, everyone Stanford educated, 5 people, but different gender and races, is less diverse than a room of all white male, but from different parts of the world. Because we really need to have this diversity of thoughts and ideas coming up. And that would help to identify the biases in the data. So that's then once you get over that, then that would help to actually think more ethical AI solutions. The second part of this collaborative AI, that when you build a different team, people bring different perspectives. It's so important that when we build AI solutions, that we could create stories, we could connect to the users, understand their emotions, why they want to use it, what could be their objections, right? And my whole conjecture of what, for example, in my company I'm doing is, how do we build bottom-up environments and communities that could build more inclusive and ethical and AI trusted AI solutions. So in your case, for example, now when you're sitting, you think if you could bring out more diverse teams and things. And I actually have written an article about, I always say that why do we need women leadership more in AI? Because that creates this diversity of thoughts and process. And I'll give you an example before I end it. Can you go to the next slide? And this is a real story that I've heard about it actually from, I was in Switzerland, and it's a very interesting story someone told me. And she said that there were two groups were created. One was only women and one was only men. And they were told to develop a safety solution for some Swiss brands. And there was 4 weeks of work. And at the end of the 4 weeks, these two groups had to present what the work they did and what is the solution they found. And it's so interesting that how these two different groups actually worked and built the solution. The first solution was built by only women. They actually built a very simple technology. The technology itself was not that difficult. They're simple machine learning, simple regression, something like that. But what they focused on was telling a story. Telling a story which could emotionally connect to the people. Very important that that people could see, okay, why they need it, why they will use it, why people will adopt it. The other group were focused are very much on high tech solution, which in AI, GPS, and video conference, and I don't think there's anything wrong in that, but that was too much focus on facts and numbers and kind of not really connecting to the people. And when you have to really put out a product out to the market, you have to tell great stories. And final, before I end, I will tell you one story. I met one Microsoft. He was one of the top executives in Microsoft. I was in Kosovo. I met him, and he told me, and we were talking about what is the future of AI would be, and what, for example, Microsoft needs next. And he says Microsoft does not need more engineers; they need more storytellers that could take these technologies that we are building, like future AI technology, and tell beautiful stories that people can connect and use it. That's very, very important, I think, in terms of successful adoption of AI. So yeah, you can move to the last slide, which is basically thanks a lot for, I think I did it on time. Yeah, 2 minutes over. And there are some preferences. But yeah, thanks a lot and wish you all guys the best.
Thank you a lot, Rodolfo. And I think we will share these links in our Discord channel so users can, like our participants, can easily go to to all these links. And thanks again, really, it was super useful. And I think like there are a lot of questions and things to overthink after this meeting. But yeah, thanks a lot again. And I think we'll be jumping in a few minutes into interviews with our participants. So stay tuned. And yeah, thanks a lot, Rodolfo. Wish you a great weekend and see you soon. Yeah. Bye bye. So yeah, stay tuned and see you soon in a few minutes with interviews our participants. Hey everyone again. We are back and right now we with our participants.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Oh,
Hey, how
I
are you
can't hear
doing?
you guys. Oh, one second.
You can. Okay. Okay. So your friend will be back and we can start. But how are you doing? How was life? How was everything? How are you feeling?
So sorry. Just a minute, because I guess there are two open channel.
Yeah. Yeah. We just moved here. All good now? Everything is okay? Yeah. Can you hear us? I think we can hear you. What about now? Can we start? Shall we? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no.
So, hi guys again. Super happy to have you here and join us for interviews. How are you doing today? How is everything?
Very well,
You're
thank
from
you.
one team. You're from one team, right? You're one team.
We are, yeah.
Yeah, so, super basic question always to start with. It's what is your name? How are you doing? Like, where are you from? And how did you met actually, like, to start this project together?
Sure. Sarah, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Yeah,
Or-
you can just start talk about yourself. For example, you can start one of what your team. Who is your leader, basically?
Sure. I think we're having a bit of some mic issues or speaker issues for some reason in Discord. Sorry. Could you say that again, Nasty? I didn't quite hear you that well.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can. Now I can.
Yeah. We want to talk about yourself, about your background, where you're from. Is it your first time you take part in with Layla and totally with hackathon? We are really interested to know more about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So myself, Sarah, and Martin keeps coming in and out, but we're all part of Team Blue. So just a bit about me. So I'm an AI engineer from London, also co-founder of a healthcare startup, and I have been in AI programming for some time. I used to actually be an algorithmic trader, so implementing machine learning for trading institutions, but then started applying my skill set to healthcare problems. It's my first time doing a lab.ai hackathon. And yeah, excited to be here. We've got quite a number of ideas to pursue. So yeah, excited to kick this off.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you so much. And
Nice to hear that. What about your what about your friends?
Yeah, Sarah, do you want to go next?
Yeah. I can talk about myself, but I hear echo about our microphone, so I have bad quality about audio. I don't know if you also
but
have these problems.
we hear you very well. You're okay.
Okay, so I'm Sarah. I'm from Italy, and I graduated from computer science. I am data scientist, and currently I'm on NLP project on AWS and Amazon Skills. So I'm really glad to join this hackathon because it involves state-of-the-art technologies like Whisper and GPT-3. So I'm very happy to utilize them. And so thank you guys of LabLab AI to organize this event because it's very cool.
Thank you so much. It's really meaningful.
We're really happy to hear.
Thanks.
Yeah. We're really happy to hear that because yeah, Nasty, you can say something. Sorry for interrupting.
Lisa, you can talk.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we're really super glad that you can be here. And actually, the power of community really matters. And as you said, you're from Israel, you're from London. You're right now based in London, right? And your friend. Actually, oh, hey Mordim, can you fly?
Yeah, I made it.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself too? What is your background? What is your real name?
Yeah, my name is Martin.
Mhm.
Yeah, I go by Tex, but that's besides the point. I have a master's in biophysics from the University of Amsterdam. I started finally getting into data science a couple of months ago. Really like the machine learning aspects of it, but looking to get more exposure into that and seeing how that works, and getting some real life applications. Getting used to to how it works. That's me.
Okay, that's cool. But I see you have like a time difference, so you're from basically different like cities, countries, everything. Have you chosen a team before? You're all friends, or you're just met here on OpenAI Whisper Hackathon?
I think we all met on Discord. So yesterday.
Oh, really? Oh, nice. Oh, that's so cool. And how did you deal with this time difference? Because it's really like, maybe not that big, but still 2 hours, 3 hours.
We still haven't really met everyone yet. One of our team is, I believe, Mexico or something.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, but you need to plan everything in advance. So have you already came up with the idea
So
for your project?
yeah, so we all came up with a bunch of ideas, and we filtered maybe like 5 or 6, which we think we should probably work on. And so, do we in this process? Do we check those ideas with a mentor? Is that something? And are you guys the ones who would check our ideas? How does it usually work? Okay, sure. I mean, we can. I think I had an echo. But would it help if we maybe discuss our ideas with you now?
Yeah, sure.
You can share.
It'd be cool to hear that. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe it will help if I just I don't know if I can share my screen.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. So can you guys see my screen?
No.
Not yet. Oh, this is doing this on Discord is quite strange.
I can see 2 buttons for sharing the screen. It's one near the options, the menu, and then one on the bottom. Don't know what you're trying.
And there's right. I think something's happening. Oh, it just got disconnected. I don't know if Sarah or Martin, one of you guys wants to share the mirror board.
Let's see. Chrome tab. There we go. I think I can do that.
Awesome.
Go. Can you see it?
No.
Really?
It's strange. It's when you click share screen and click go live, it doesn't do anything, I don't think.
Okay. I'll try the other button.
Something is like wrong. It just
I mean, while Martin does that, I can kind of just explain to you our thought process. So what we did is for each individual in our team, we mentioned some ideas which can use Whisper, GPT, and Codex to build a pretty good solution. And so of course there's 4 or 5 of us in this team. So coming up with 5 ideas for 5 people, that's a lot of ideas. It's 25. So to filter them down, we used a framework similar to the LabLab.ai framework. So we have just basically a 2D plot of how, and on the y-axis you have how important is this user need. So that's kind of more like applicability or business value. And then on the x-axis, we have how much satisfaction would this create. So it's kind of also touching on innovation or originality. And then so we put all of the solutions on this graph. And then that's how we filtered which solutions we want to pursue. And so we have, in this graph, you want to pursue only solutions in the top right quadrant. And so we have a few solutions there that we will probably pursue on this task. And then really the step now is to just really understand, based on the skill set within our team, how technologically feasible is that prototype. So like, could we, between us, create a prototype for that business idea? So was that your question, Lisa? I just wanted to make that's just the process by which we've gone through with this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was basically my question, because it's always interesting to know how you kind of get along, together, because especially when you're from like, you even didn't know each other before. And it's always so interesting because usually, people can come with friends and, build something together, but you're basically here just, to build, to hack, the weekend of hacking and building. And that's amazing to hear. I'm also that person who use kind of, graphs and the mirror. I love it to use it. But yeah, for sure, I would love to recommend you to have a session with mentors. It will be better to choose probably which idea will be better working and on which you can work together, all of you. But you're from like pretty same background, or you do have even non-IT people in your team?
I mean, I'm a kind of a technical guy and a business guy, but I think Martin and Sarah maybe have similar experience. Yeah, I think we all have similar technical experiences. I think Martin or Sarah, if you want to.
Well, no, I don't have any. I'm trying to think what the other people said, but I can't look because we're using Discord.
Okay, so you're not much using Discord in your life.
Well, if I click away, I won't be allowed back. I don't know how I ended up with this channel.
It takes some getting used to. I mainly use Slack, but not.
It's not the best technology market.
Right?
Yeah. So, what excites you about AI? Like, what makes you like be driven? What do you think? There is like a good future, or
I'm just
behind this?
here for Judgment Day. Like that's a Terminator reference. Maybe the wrong generation.
I Robot or Terminate. What excites us? I think it's like I think it's people are scared of Judgment Day, but like in my view, it's more about upgrading the human. So like I'm super excited about how we can enhance ourselves to like do better, more creative things. And I think AI will help us get us there rather than replace us until it becomes too intelligent at some point. So I think for me, it's all about enhancing the human ability to be more creative, in my view.
Exactly. Yeah. Me, it's very much that as well. Just to where you'd need teams of people to make ideas a reality. Here, you can just discuss it with your computer and have a program ready to go. This is just amazing, really exciting.
Yeah, it's already kind of somehow replacing humans in some parts of like in some spheres. But do you think it would be like possible that it will replace literally the whole market, job market, or still?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it will replace some jobs for sure. That's just a fact, but it can't replace the entire job market. I think you have to have you have to really function an entire market or economy. You have to have some level of intuitive thinking, which we don't understand ourselves. Therefore, it's very hard for us to program that into a machine.
Yeah, it's true. And we had a talk today with Rudradep. He had a speech. You can check it out also via links on our Discord. But he was saying that humans will be more about, being a community and about storytelling, actually. And this is what right now kind of matters. So behind everything, there is a story, which you are kind of sharing to the world. And I think probably when you're building something, it's also really cool to tell the story which is behind or also in front of it. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, storytelling is super important.
Girls?
I will have one question for you also. Is it possible, for example, in future to develop your project and work together after the end of hackathon?
Yeah, well, of course there's a possibility. Yeah, why not? Absolutely. I'm sure you Martin, and
conversations.
Of course.
Yeah. To take part in some events, to meet new people, to get more knowledge. So, yeah. So, guys, we can see your submission tomorrow. Just remember to ask us wherever you want, and if you want to get an opinion from our mentors, so just tag. We want to get opportunity to get opinion, and we have mentors. We have Skander. We have other guys that can help you, of course.
Yeah. And if you have like questions about the technology of Whisper, today at 3, there will be session with Fabian, who is from AI family. And yeah, he will be talking about this technology more. And also on our webpage, you can go through some articles, tutorials, which can be also useful. But sure, we recommend you to contact mentors and talk more about the idea actually, which you're building and doing.
And sorry, just a question: how do we actually? I'm still a bit confused on how we actually contact the mentor.
you can write on general chat that we want to speak with mentors, and I will take the right mentors you need. Or for example, you can call just like me, Nasi, and I will also forward
Awesome.
the right mentors. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not sure where that button is on the actual team page. Is there a calling for help button?
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen it.
yes. Here you can find AI general and programming question, and you can also write some kind of technical question there, or just like me or Olesha, and we will help you.
Awesome. Sounds
Yeah,
great. So
definitely.
I think maybe the next step for us, Martin and Sarah, is just to speak with a mentor, validate the idea, and then we can go ahead and start executing the idea.
Sure.
I will
Yeah.
check now in your channel mentors to help you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for joining us today. It was such a lovely talk, and we are really happy to have you here to meet you. And we wish you all the luck in the world. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, guys. I think it's an amazing event that you guys have put on, and so really appreciate your time and effort to put this together. It's really great.
Oh, we're really happy to be here for you, you know. So, yeah, enjoy, you know, because, you know, enjoying it's one of the most important parts. Yeah,
Exactly.
so
Thank you so
have
much.
a great time then.
Thank you, guys.
Bye bye.